Morning.
Good morning. Well, actually, it's 2 o'clock here. What?
Okay.
Nevertheless.
Nevertheless, it's okay. You know, we were waiting for your performance, Time Loss, in
Yeah,
March.
true.
I was really looking forward to see it. I must confess, I haven't seen your work, but I've heard a lot about it, and so it was a
Thank you.
big pleasure to have you in Rome, in India, in the theater India. So, can you tell us something about your play, Time Loss?
Yeah, I mean, I also do a great. It was a great regret for me to not be in Rome with the performance of Time Loss. Um, yes, well, the Time Loss, it was a kind of personal project. We made. It's a quite old piece. I think the premiere was 2012 or 13. Nevertheless, and we still performing it in Europe. I did a piece, one of my first pieces, called Dance on Glasses, which at that time I was just a young guy from the countryside in Iran, and so based on a personal experiences, everybody more or less knows the stories of my friends, so I can say it now. It was I broke up with my girlfriend at that time, and so I made a piece about kind of like personal experiences about the night that we talked and decided to break up. So and if you see the pictures of Dance on Glasses, you see a long 4-meter table. Along the 4-meter table, you there see a man and women on both sides. And this is what we did also, that we asked the audience to see in both sides of the table, on both sides. And then, so as I said, we received well, and we performed for a few years, I guess. And then, and we turned as a kind of a student company, just group of young, under 25 years old actors, directors. We turned into a kind of like a known actors and team in Europe. So it opened the door, and of course the money comes. The what is your next piece question comes. We want to produce this and we want to produce that comes. So all the regular questions. And as you expect, all these things ruined the company and ruined the friendship that we had with the team and with the actors and everything. So we somehow the whole company fell apart out of the success of so-called Dance on Glasses. And we decide in the middle of the series of email of asking for performance of Dance on Glasses, we decided to stop performing it. So we all say no to all the offers of and invitations of let's please come and perform Dance on Glasses. For a few years, like in between, I made, I don't know, maybe 8-10 different pieces till 2012. And I went to England. I studied drama. I created a piece. I invited as a guest director in 𝗧𝗹𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗶 in Cologne. So I became a kind of professional director, so-called. But the question of Dance on Glasses, it was a kind of trauma for me as a director and for the whole team. And then in 2012, I said that I should kind of adopt my own play. So Time Loss, it was a kind of adaptation of Dance and Glasses, a new adaptation, or it was a kind of response to the question of what if we perform Dance and Glasses now. So as you see, the story of Time Loss, it was that we want to release the DVD of Dance and Glasses in 2012. And now the problem is that the sound quality of the DVD, that's the story of the play. So the sound quality of DVD is not very good because it's quite old. So we decide to invite the actors of Dance and Glasses to come and dub the play that they performed it 9 years ago or 12 years ago, something like that, or now, maybe 9 years ago. So it was a kind of reenactment of the play that they had already done it. But then I create other layers, you know. First of all, actually, I couldn't take the main actors of dance, the real actors of Dance and Glasses, because one of them decided to quit actually acting and move to the dance discipline. And the actress also, her personal life changed totally. So she established and made and moved to other cities. So she quit acting also. So it was also another challenge that I should replace them with a new faces and actors, which I worked with. And yeah, then I also decided to kind of add some fictional lines to the play. Like the actors of Dance and Glasses, they had as if that they had a kind of affair with each other. And now it's 9 years after, there's also a layer of their relationship added to the story of the play. So yeah, so that was the story of Time Loss. And as I said, it was very surprising for us that, you know, because of course, I mean, we perform Dance and Glasses a lot, but first of all, people could not remember the piece that they saw 8-9 years ago, an Iranian piece with the subtitle especially. On the other hand, actually, we perform somewhere that we didn't actually perform Dance and Glasses there. So nobody, so for people and for the audience, Dance and Glasses, it doesn't mean anything. So it didn't mean anything for the premiere audience in Geneva, I guess, that they saw a piece which we keep repeating a title of Dance and Glasses without knowing that what the context of the play is. And especially now, for example, even in Iran, that the piece, the play of Dance and Glasses is very known. Also, we had other generation of audience that actually also they didn't know anything about Dance and Glasses, which was premiered 10, 12 years ago. So it was quite challenging to create a piece which could stand on its own and could be independent and detached from the context. But yeah, I think that was the surprising part for me, because I mean, yeah, we got a good response from the audience, and now I think it's almost 8 years. Maybe I should start thinking about the third episode, you know, the reenactment of Time Loss, maybe. Yeah, especially in the Corona time.
So in a way, it's also a play about the time, and
definitely, yeah, yes. Yeah.
And how the time works on memory, and our work.
Yeah, exactly.
Our work is so ephemeral. So, and then you go on it again, and it changes. It's very interesting. About time, how is it now in Iran? Where are you first of all?
I'm in Tehran, actually. In Tehran.
Okay.
In Iran.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
so
actually, you can see I can
Yes.
see the whole city now.
Yes.
I'm very lucky that I'm in a good position.
How is it now, the situation about the coronavirus in Iran?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to a really kind of good estimation of the situation. The response of the government is really questionable. It's it's very difficult to trust, to rely on the statistics that the government announced. It's not. I mean, it was a series of incidents before the coronavirus that that makes it very difficult to believe, even if they are sincere about the numbers. But it makes it very difficult to really believe on the official statistics. So that makes the situation more complicated. You know, like even if they said it's bad, we say, oh no, maybe it's good. And if they said it's good, we always say, oh no, maybe it's bad. So, and especially in this situation that probably you also experienced in Italy and other way, it makes things more complicated when you don't really rely, when there is no kind of bond between the government and people. So it's there are many rumors. There are like the people rely on WhatsApp messages more than what the official says. Although that I should say that it's clearly getting like decline. So as far as I heard from my friends that they work in the hospitals, that they said it's the heat that we experienced in March and also April passed. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the season, with the, I don't know, all the rumors about the virus getting weaker, blah, blah, or government somehow managed to control. Now the death toll is under 80 on daily basis, which we remember in March it was over 1,000. And I guess, you know, Iran is a very centralized country. It's a, you know, Tehran itself with the suburb, it's something like 20 million population. And so 1/4 of 25% of the country, of the vast country that we have, Iran, it would just live in Tehran. So so the observation I had is based more or less on the personal experience that I had in Tehran. I think it makes it very difficult to know what is actually happening right now in the other part of the country, which we have really least information, least possible information with the real cases. But yeah, if to just shorten, I think yeah, of course the curve, as they all said, is getting flattened. It's getting less with a very, very slow speed, with the very slow, much slower than European countries. But yeah.
Have you been locked down in your houses for a while? Because in Italy
No, they were not official. Like they were even in March. We could have left our houses. Of course, officially we could. There were like almost a month of kind of quarantine cities, so we could not travel. We were wild cities. We could not leave the cities, but there were not any time that we could not leave the houses. So of course they asked that that in March and April, all the shops, apart from what they call it essential shops, like supermarket and drugstores and blah blah, they are all they were closed for quite a while, like I think for almost 2 months. Now since the middle of or middle of May, they start opening up slowly the small businesses and shops. I know it because we with the group of my friends, we opened a very, very uneconomical cafe house, which is just more or less just to enjoy our own time with our own friends there. So I think and the problem was in between there was a Ramadan in May,
Yes.
mid of May to mid of June. So or beginning of May till beginning of June. So at that time, anyway, the restaurants could not, or the cafe, they could not actually work. So after Ramadan, the restaurants start opening up, and but still, football are closed. I mean, football is closed, theater is closed, concerts, like musical concerts. All the entertainment business is still, let's say, closed, and it makes it very difficult because yeah, I mean, theater, it's not a subsidized art. So all the theater companies, they need to survive based on the box office.
On the box.
It is such a, I mean, subsidized money doesn't exist actually in Europe, almost, or it's not something that I know. So I haven't get subsidized money, I don't know, for more than maybe 12 years. So all the in the last 10 years, 10 to 12 years, more or less all the theater companies, they survived on based on the box office. So the audience are very essential. The tickets, selling tickets. So because of that, since the pandemic, it was a big unemployment for the theater companies and actors, and they could not get even any what they call it in Germany, for example, artistic shield or help or support. So yeah, so that's still the main concern for theater companies. Like, so every companies, they have to somehow find their own way. Now in the last 4 or 5 months, all the theater makers, including actors, directors, playwrights, stage designer, everybody, they have to live out of their savings, which is melting down, and which is getting less and less every day. And I don't see any positive future, any bright future, because apart from, you know, if the coronavirus and pandemic pass, finger crossed, and hopefully, we still have to deal with the crisis of sanctions. The government is, I mean, the bigger lockdown for Iranian is the sanction, is the economical sanction that they live in, and so there's no, for example, if you want to send me 100 euro from Italy, it's not possible. So that makes the economy, like the whole economy is almost collapsing. The values of the Iranian currency is getting almost it's getting half value than what it was like last year. So more than 100% losing the value. So I think this is the bigger, I would say, concern. So it makes it almost uh, um, the hope that we should have about the future is getting really small, getting smaller and smaller, because the government, according to them, even if they are sincere, even if they want to help, they have what they said, they have other priorities in the economy that they have to, like all the unemployment in industry, and imagine that, when there are like factories and companies which they cannot import or export their product. So you can imagine how many unemployed we are facing in the economy. So I think theater, when in Germany or in Europe, is in the bottom line and in the bottom priority, even in the rich countries. So you can imagine what the situation could be in a country like Iran, that we already live in a quarantine and lockdown even before the corona started.
Yes. What's about your theater group in this moment?
Well, I am among the lucky guys in Iran, because it's been like since 2015. I started working also as a director in Germany. So I'm working in both countries, in Germany and in Iran. So I still have, although that my German premiere, which was supposed to start in beginning of June in Hamburg, already postponed for the next season, and of some other dates that I had postponed or postponed to indefinite time. Nevertheless, I'm still I still have the possibility to work individually as a director there in Germany. So for my next, but the funny part is that now I have my next premiere, my next production starts in Deutsches Theater in Berlin in October. My other concern is that if they let me if they let me to come to Europe. This is other concern. That, so for example, we could still not travel even to the neighbors country. So I think one of the that apart from the coronavirus, apart from what because of the lockdown situation, the other colleagues is I think the other question that the other colleagues have, we also have extra questions about like when can we travel. I think it was the same situation that we had about Roma, that just before, maybe a week before our tour starts, we realized that actually we cannot leave the country.
Now in Italy, since the 15th of June, we can be again in the theaters and work, but with the limitation of number of people. Inside it cannot be more than 200, and there must be a distance between each spectator, and keep the mask for the spectators. On stage you must just keep the distance. Do you have something like that in Iran, or there's just closed the theater?
Well, if I want to describe the situation in Iran, first of all, imagine that we have two different types of theaters. Let's call them public theaters, which they belong to the Ministry of Culture and Government. So it's the building that it belongs to the government. So there is a kind of budget for those theaters, which, for example, they can pay their bills and they can pay the electricity bills, or they can pay their staff. But we have now, I think now we reached to the last before the corona, there were like 55 theater performances every night performed in Tehran. So it was so Tehran is a theater is very, very popular. But more than the majority of, like more than 80% of theaters venues are private. So the people, it's a private investment actually. I don't know how, but how they manage economically, but somehow it seems that the private guy, you know, the rich guy goes and actually rents the building, pay the rent monthly for the building. Probably they get some support from TP. I don't know. I'm not aware about that. So now the question for those theaters that even in the Corona time, apart from that the headaches of that we could not have any performance in it, they still had the headache that we should pay the rent of the building. That's another nightmare. I don't know how. I have no idea how they did it. I know that, for example, in our cafe house, I know that that the owner like gave us a kind of time to pay the rent that we couldn't fulfill. So we could not fulfill 3 months pay rent. So he said that, okay, these 3 months is, I don't know, is 1,000 euro. So every month from now on, you pay 100 euro more in order to fulfill this 1,000 euro. So probably it was more or less kind of personal agreement with the owner of the building, with the owner, with the director of theater. But now the situation, so the protocol, the safety, healthy protocols now let the theaters to be open actually from yesterday. But I'm not aware that I think that the production still not take place. And they already said that, yes, they have to have a 40% of the capacity of the venue. So if 100 audience you could have, you can just have 40. But the main question is that I think as the theaters and companies, they were surviving out of the box office. So the question is that how could the theaters could survive out of the 40 tickets that they sell? You know, in Iran, so for example, even I know that they were. I mean, we are not very much restricted about even security and safety of audience. So even the audience, in the private theaters, they even sell the tickets of the stairs and the floor. So if we have 100% capacity of the theaters, usually in the theaters they have more than 150 audience. There were audience on the floor and also on the stairs sitting. So they sell even much more than the capacity in order to fulfill the expenses. But now, with the social distancing and half a capacities, it is totally uneconomical to do theater. It should be something like a sacrifice, and it should be just a psychological help for the performer and the director to just try to do something and without thinking about that if they get any economical benefit out of it.
Listen, all this time that you cannot travel, and you are in Tehran and waiting for the situation to develop in some way, could you work? How did you spend your time?
Well, yeah, I think it for my person, it was quite it was a good good time that I had. It was a good kind of break for me. I had you know with it was a time to reflect about what I've been doing since especially since I started working in Germany. And you know, every year I had a kind of 2 premieres in Germany. So within 5 years, I had more than 10 premieres in Germany, and apart from 2 productions I created in Iran. So so I think it was in this sense, it was a kind of good time for me to just, it was a kind of like a residency, like artistic residency, living in our, I mean, for not getting paid, but or to read and write. So now I wrote 2 plays for my next production, one with my Iranian team and one with the German team. And so I could still work at my desk, but it was totally something unusual for me, because it's very difficult for me personally to not be surrounded by actors while I'm writing, you know, because for me it's, I don't do like I don't finish the play and say, okay, this is the play, let's work on it. I usually just write a few pages of the play, and then I start rehearsing with actors, and just get a feedback from them while they are reading it, and then say, okay, so what do you think? What should, where, in which direction we should go? Talking about Time Loss, when we start rehearsing Time Loss, we just had 5 or 6 pages of Dance on Glasses, actually, not even the play of Time Loss. So I asked actors to come, and they read the Dance on Glasses, and they said, okay, so what do you want to do with that? And then so everything starts based on wandering in the rehearsal room. So the situation for me as a work in progress writer director, it was different, because, you know, I was supposed to Skype with colleagues and saying that, you know, I want to write this, and what do you think about that? And can you read these lines for me? And it was not very much in this sense. It was a new experience. It was not what I used to do. And of course, also on the other hand, I should say that also the way that I worked with Iranian team, it was totally, it is a kind of different with the way I work with the German colleagues, because my Iranian team, they are kind of my company. They are, we know each other since, I don't know, for more than 15, 16 years. They know my style. They've been in my different productions, but with the German colleagues, I am more or less on my own. When I'm talking with my team, they, first of all, they need to understand what I want to do. And this makes it very difficult to, you know, that you kind of understand each other via Zoom or Skype, and not sharing a table and a ceiling. So that's especially, I mean, in the way that I do theater, that I always believe in the community of people, that they are getting together and raising the question and asking people what they think, and shall we go this or shall we go that way? Yeah, that for me, it was a new normal that I started to understand it since the beginning of lockdown.